Good evening, late model and dirt racing fans. We come to you from the state of Illinois, where we bring you round 6, the first crown jewel of the All-Star Racing Series, presented by Autocraft Paint and Body Works. And here tonight, we are at the Fairbury Speedway. Upstate Al in the booth with you with a special guest. They call him the Bearded Wonder from New York. It is Justin Smith. And Justin, we have made the track from our great state to this great state where this track is going to put on one heck of a show for us here tonight.
Yeah, real excited to be down here at Fairbury for some pro late model action. Open setup is going to be the way they're going to do it tonight. No fixed setup, so every driver can tune on their car for the track conditions. So it should be a good show here tonight.
Definitely should be. 1 week ago at Lanier, John Darby picked up the win. He is in action here tonight, and he sits third on the speed chart in practice so far. Practice just about to be wound up here. We will get the points updated and loaded in for us here tonight a little bit later on in the show. But before we do that here tonight, we have two rounds of qualifying. Justin, we know that you've been following along here. Finally, we're able to hop in to the RV with us here and bring us out to Lanier. But we have 2 rounds of qualifying. We're going to have 8-lap heat races in round number 1. Points on the line, random draw based on how you came through the pit gate here tonight is how you're going to get lined up in heat race number 1. Then after that, we're going to go into a second round of heat races worth a little bit more points on the line. So if you sweep your heat races, you're going to start up front in tonight's 75-lap feature event presented by Autocraft Paint and Body Works. And I can tell you, James Braswell swept it 2 weeks ago down at in Volusia, and he swept all heat races and the feature event, and he sits atop of the current point standings.
Yeah, Volusia Speedway, a little bit different there than Fairbury. Fairbury is a lot shorter, a little bit more high banked on the top, not big and sweeping like Volusia, so we'll see if he can adjust here down at Fairbury Speedway.
Yeah, Fairbury, this track going to be very difficult around here as they work around this little bull ring. We're going to see action all the way down by the Uke tires. Well, we know that the Uke tires go for a hunt, but then we also know they're going to be up there by the concrete scraping the right rear off. Hopefully they have a little bit of that plastic right rear quarter panel. If not, you get up into that outside wall a little bit too hard. Well, it's going to suck the right front around, and that could cause big trouble for the guys behind you.
Yeah, it's real tough to tell without being in one of these cars here, but Fairbury is real tough. If you're running the bottom, you're right on them infield tractor tires. It's almost got a reverse camber banking on that very bottom. But then if you run the top, you are on a fine line between tagging that wall, and as soon as you touch that wall through 3 and 4, it'll suck you right in it and carry you down the front stretch in that wall. So it's a real fine line on the bottom and on the top here. It should be a good challenge for these drivers.
It definitely will be. We're going to step away one quick moment right before we get ready to go with heat race action, coming to you from the Fairbury American Legion Speedway here in Illinois. My name is Upstate Al, along with Justin Smith in the booth. We'll be right back. You are watching the All-Star Racing Series here on the Turn 3 Racing Network.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back here to the Fairbury Speedway as we get ready to go with tonight's racing action. And as promised, let's take a look at that current point standings. Coming into tonight's racing action, this is round number 6. And it is James Braswell up on top of the points lead with 739 points. But in virtue of a win 1 week ago at Lanier, John Darby has climbed to the number 2 spot in the points as he leapfrogged the 51 of Jacob Lassiter. Lassiter with electrical issues on the 51 1 week ago. They have the gremlins all figured out here, and they hope to have a good showing here tonight in round number 6. It's hard to believe that we're already past the halfway point for this series. The whole month of June, well, we're going to be here at Fairbury with the first crown jewel. And Justin, I know you've been paying attention to this series since we started broadcasting on the Turn 3 Racing Network, and these drivers have put it out. We've had 5 different winners in 5 different weeks. Can we see a 6th different winner here tonight with 20 drivers signed in to do battle here at the Fairbury Speedway?
Yeah, that's quite the statistic there. I mean, you know you got a real solid competitive lead when not one driver, not 2 drivers, not 3 drivers win every race. We've got a different winner for each individual race, so this will be real exciting here. Maybe we'll have a new winner tonight. Make it 6 different drivers. That would be impressive.
Tell me, would be practice just getting ready. The bout being done up to the last minute. Instructions is now. You see Barney waving the checkered flag there, so that means it is going to be time to go with heat race action number 1 here tonight. And this is your starting lineup here tonight for heat race number 1, the ABR Setup Shops heat race number 1. And on the pole in car number 26, it'll be Sage Luther and the Rocket Racing Setups, car number 26. Starting to his outside in car number 98, it'll be Michael Kennedy. Kennedy in car 98 will roll off in the number 2 spot. This driver 1 week ago, car number 38, the driver out of Van Buren, Arkansas, the Rocket Setup Shop. This is Larry Townsend. Townsend had a very good showing 1 week ago. Can he do it again here tonight at the Fairbury Speedway? Outside of him will be car number 37, the team DTJ, the Milner Media Designs. Car number 37, this is Brandon Marlowe. Marlowe going to roll off 4th. 5th starting spot will go to the 117 of Jeremy Prey. With a very, very patriotic paint scheme on that number 117 here tonight. Gotta love that. Starting 6th will be car number 6. This is Jeff Helton, the newest driver to the Hood Up Motorsports, and shotgun on the field. And I feel like this driver needs to get someone to pick his draws for him, or change a little bit of lady luck for these draws. Blake Brown gonna start shotgun once again here in heat race number 1. And it is going to be on 8 laps is going to be the distance here in heat race number 1, Justin. And the pace truck already down in the way. That's how fast the pace laps are in the track. Looking very beautiful. Green flag is up, and Luther going to step on the gas pedal down the front stretch.
Luther sends it down to the bottom going into turn 1. Floats it way up off of 2 there. But he's got a solid 2-3 car gap now over the 2nd place of the 98. Gets a little free off of 4 as they head down the front stretch into 1 and 2.
A little bit of contact back here in the field. It looks like the 38 of Townsend up on the wall. Yellow flag going to come out. Him and the 37 of Marlowe had major contact down in turn number 1. They were both running 3rd and 4th at the time, and both drivers sustaining heavy damage to their race cars. Number 37 of Marlowe and the 28 of Brown, Brandon Marlowe. You see Marlowe go down pit side. Let's take a look back here and see. Well, we had these pace laps will go really quick. Let's take a quick look at this replay. See him down here through turns 3 and 4 up to racetrack. Townsend had to stab the brakes there. Got a little bit sideways. They went in the corner and the right rear up in the left front of Marlowe. And both of them doing, I think that was, they would call that a grind back in the skateboarding days. Then, both of those drivers are going to tag in at the back of the field. Lights have gone out, double them up. Luther and Kennedy up on the front row.
Yeah, pace truck coming down to the infield. We still got Kennedy on the front here, taking the inside line for the restart. So go through 3 and 4. Drivers in even rows at 2 as the green comes out. And the 26 taking the lead with Kennedy running the high side as well. Big send down to the inside by the 117 there as Sage Luther still regains the lead and keeps his composure as they head off the 4.
Ed Bray really working the bottom of the racetrack with his JDM Designs painted number 117 there as he works the bottom of the racetrack. You can see where the track is a little bit brown, more brown than on the outside. That means there's a little bit more grip, a little bit more moisture down there as Sage Luther works it down the backstretch into turn number 3. You can see him really leaning over and lifting the left front on that number 26, just like that. 3 laps to go, and it is a barn burner for back here in spot number 3. As now Prey will move the number 98 of Kennedy back to spot number 3. Kennedy with a run on the outside. 2 laps to go as they enter turn number 1.
Yeah, Prey really working that bottom there, trying to get that moisture on the very, very bottom. But that 98 car holding tough on the outside. It's really easy to get caught up here on the bottom. You really feel like you're just kind of putting around. But meanwhile, he's staying even with the 98 as the 26 of Sage Luther rockets his way down the backstretch.
Luther last time through turns 3 and 4. Checkered flag is up. Luther will pick up the win. Kennedy will hold on to second. Prey in third. Marlowe rebounds for fourth. Jeff Helton, Blake Brown, and Larry Townsend will round out your 7-car field here for heat race number 1. And just like that, we are done with heat race number 1, moving into heat race number 2. And this is what the starting lineup will look like.
I can't figure that out.
Well, here we go. The paper getting passed around up here in the Turn 3 Racing Network booth. And this is what heat race number 2 will look like as they will pace behind the pace car. And it'll be the car number 21. It is Kyle Vandergriff. Vandergriff going to start on the front row. Very strong 1 week ago at Lanier, which were all the Mid-South Mafia cars. Outside of him, the driver that had trouble 1 week ago, that was Jacob Laster, had a dismal finish at Lanier, looking to rebound here tonight. Starting on the inside, the driver out of Texas, the car number 31, this is Justin Holt. And outside of him, car number 18, Junior, this is James Braswell, Jr. Car number 1 is Thomas Vickers. Outside of him will be Mario Perez with his first start in car number 71. And last week's feature event winner, John Darby, shotgun on the field.
As they headed between 3 and 4, Vandergriff with a big start, gets a big jump as the 31 works his way to the bottom now. They're battling down the backstretch. Justin Holt looking to the inside, trying to take the lead on this heat race number 2. Big slider coming off of 4 for Holt. He takes the lead as they head across the start-finish line.
Sliding on board right now with Jacob Laster. You see him get to the backside, a little contact with the number 31 of Holt. And just like that, Justin Holt back to 7th after running in the lead. 3 wide with Laster in the middle of the racetrack. Braswell really banging it off the outside wall as they still run door to door. Laster down on the inside. Vickers runs the middle of the racetrack. Contact out back. Braswell gets a little bit sideways, but everybody keeps it pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, Lassiter leading this little bunch of cars here from 3rd on back. Caution flag has come out onto the speedway.
Yellow flag coming out for Justin Holt and James Braswell making contact down in turn number 1. Let's take a look back and see what happened. These guys were really throwing the haymakers early on in heat race number 2. See Lassiter working the bottom of the racetrack. Right there, John Darby. It looks like the 71 of Perez gets into the back of Braswell. Braswell down the bottom, had to hit the hooks, and well, Holt sends it in there, Justin, and you know as well as I do, on the dirt surface once you already do a full send into the corner, it's hard to miss something if it happens in front of you as quick as it did for Justin Holt right there in heat race number 2, presented by JDM Designs. You want a good looking race car out there, you need to look up JDM Designs. He is the official painter of the Autocraft Paint and Bodyworks All-Star Racing Series. Is the pace truck. Down in the way, Vandergriff is going to jump on the gas pedal. Vickers and Lassiter ready to go in tow. We are back underway with just 4 laps remaining.
Vandergriff picking up where he left off, and that beautiful white, teal, and purple number 21 car really running that middle line, not really floating up very high down the straightaway, but we've got a 3-wide battle for second now. It is starting to heat up. This second heat race has been no holds barred. You see dents and scrapes on all the cars, and these guys are really going to work here for that 3rd place position.
Side by side back there off of turn number 2, drag race down the back stretch. John Darby, these guys have been picking up speed week after week. He'll move into that number 2 spot as it's the final lap. Darby moves in the second. Vandergriff working down the backstretch for the final time in the turn number 3. Off of turn 4, Vandergriff's going to pick up the win, but the battle is for second. Darby, 7th to 2nd in heat race number 2. 3rd will go to Lassiter, Vickers, Perez, Reswell, and Holt will round out your running order here in heat race number 2. And Justin, what did we talk about in the pre-race show? The action that Fairbury has is, and it has not led us to any disbelief that tonight's feature event is going to be exciting here with 75 laps coming on up as we get ready for heat race number 3.
Yeah, there's been a real tough battle from all the way through the field. As you can see, that bottom lane starting to come in. It looks like the top's losing a little bit of momentum, but so far we've seen 3-wide racing in these heat races.
Just like that, we're going to take and get up to speed here as we look down on the Fairbury Speedway for tonight's 3rd heat race. And this is what your starting lineup is supposed to look like. Starting on the front row, car number 23, this is Matt George. Outside of him, car number 58, the driver out of Florida, this is Trent McLeod. Tyler Carter and car number 20 and Mike Stevenson will make up row number 2. James Ferguson and Alan Duranco will round out our 3rd and final row here in heat race number 3. And this one, going to be a good one, is the pace truck. Down and away, they coming to you through turns 3 and 4.
George McLeod going to start side by side. George getting the jump on the bottom, sends it down on that bottom line through 1 and 2, washes up a little bit. The 58 in big trouble through 3 and 4. Big wall ride for him. He'll drop to the tail of the field, but out front it's all Matt George now. He's got a little bit of competition from the inside. That's going to be Tyler Carter working the bottom. George in the wall. He does the 50-50 grind as they work their way out of 2.
Tough break for the driver. Starting on the pole. Let it early. Contact now. Stevenson making contact with the 109 of Duranco and the number 44 of Stevenson as they were all raced there behind the 427 of Ferguson. Ferguson having a little bit of handling issues 1 week ago at Lanier. Looking for a good rebound. He holds on to the second as he's got him 2 by 2 out the back bumper.
Ferguson clears his way into second. Behind him, a tough battle between Stevenson and Duranco. Right now, Duranco trying to work that middle line. Gets a little bit free going in. He's going to lose a car length to the 44 as they head down the backstretch and into 3 now. You see that Duranco, the only car committing to the top, trying to make it work, see if he's got something up there. Maybe he's trying to work on setup for the second heat race, but he's making some contact off the wall. That car just not quite up to tune for what they're looking for.
No, this time by the popsicle sticks. You're up 2 laps to go for Tyler Carter, who has jumped out and started in the 3rd position. He's going to see the white silk this time by for his Braswell Trucking. Car number 20 of Carter, final trip around the Fairbury Speedway. And Ferguson in your number 2 spot. Everybody kind of settling it in now. 1 second behind Carter, so the Mid-South Mafia really showing the way. He'll pick up heat race number 3. Ferguson will cross the line in second. A little bit of action back here. We got a 4-car pileup. It's going to be who gets to the line. Looks like Georgia will come across in 3rd. Stevenson in 4th. 5th will go to Duranco, and McLeod will round out your field. So trouble down in turn number 3 on the final lap in heat race number 3. And just like that, we're going to head to heat race number 4. And let me tell you what, these drivers are putting on one heck of a show for us here tonight. And this is what heat race number 2 is going to, or heat race number 4. I can count, I promise. Heat race number 4 is going to look like this here. And on the pole will be car number 26. He picked up heat race number 1. This is Sage Luther in the Rocket setup, racing setups, car number 26. Starting to his outside, slated to start in the number 2 spot to car number 98. This is Michael Kennedy. Kennedy, the driver that is from Texas. They always say things are bigger in Texas. I really like that 98's paint job there, Smitty. The 117, Jeremy Prey, is going to start third outside of him. Car number 37, the driver out of Dexter, Missouri, the Miller Median Designs. Car number 37, this is Brandon Marlowe. Starting in spot number 5, he'll roll off 5th, is car number 6. This driver out of Richland, Missouri, it is Jeff Helton. And shotgun on the field, car number 28, flying the Turn 3 Racing Networks, the Autocraft Paint and Body Works entry. This is Blake Brown. Blake Brown will start 6th and shotgun on the field. 12 laps is the distance. Heat race in the second round, a little bit extra distance here. What are you looking for out of these guys is they get a little bit longer of a run as we head towards that 75 lap main event.
Yeah, everybody trying to dial their car in. This is kind of one of the last few opportunities they can find that out under race conditions. Sage Luther leading them off the bottom as they head down to the front stretch. Sage Luther now going to jump to the top side. Going to see what that's like. We saw him making some adjustments here last minute, trying to find a little more speed out of that 26 car. You've got the 117 working the bottom. He floats up, makes contact with the 98. That'll kill the momentum for everybody on the bottom.
Everybody doing a good job to work to make it point in the right direction. Is now Prey works to the inside of them. Is now Luther, your race leader, has trouble down in turns 1 and 3 and 4. He's going to fall all the way back to 5th. Everybody working to the bottom. One car nosed in. That's the 117 of Prey. And just like that, we are going to stay green flag. No, yellow flag has come out here in heat race number 4. As we are underneath our first caution flag for Jeremy Prey. We were on it live there. Looks like the bottom, these guys are getting the car. They just crossed up there and just unable to make it work down in turn 1. You see him enter turn 1 and the car just goes straight up into the 98 of Michael Kennedy. I don't think Kennedy could have done anything different there, Justin. Is this car, once it gets tight, you're just trying to get the power out of it with the throttle.
Yeah, you can see, I think a lot of these drivers are taking big swings setup-wise, really piling the left rear in the car, trying to tighten them up for that slick. But you saw Sage Luther, he was fine up top, ran a couple good solid laps, and then as soon as he went to that bottom in 3, it just crossed itself up, wouldn't turn, started shoving the nose and hiking the left rear. And then before you knew it, everyone was in trouble behind him. So I think guys are just using this as a tuning session for them, and maybe they'll get some better spots out of it as we go green.
They're going to work off a turn number 4. It'll be Brandon Marlowe jumping on the gas pedal down here in the turn number 1. Marlowe leading it in the ABR Setup Shop heat race number 4. Now Michael Kennedy works the outside, and you can start to see where the moisture starting to go away on the surface of this racetrack. The outside very slick in there where you see Sage Luther running. That is where the moisture is. You see where the car kind of, once it gets in that moisture, it's snapping. But a great side-by-side battle for your race lead through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, the race lead going down the backstretch. 37 of Marlowe working his way on the outside, but digging on that bottom is going to be the 98 of Kennedy. He's really getting a good run off of that bottom. Marlowe trying to work the top, makes a little bit of contact through 1 and 2 with that outside wall. And again down the backstretch, as we were saying earlier, once you touch that wall with that right rear, it really drives the right front back around to the corner of the car, and then before you know it, you're scraping your wall all the way around the track and trying to gather it back up.
You can see where the right rear is starting to get pushed in. That's going to lose a little bit of downforce. How about the driver that started 6th up to the 3rd spot, Blake Brown, making a charge here in heat race number 4 with just 4 laps to go. He'll make contact with the 26 of Luther. They still are door-to-door in the turn number 3. This time by 3 laps to go is now Brown has moved the 28 up into 3rd. He'll get sideways through turns 1 and 2. Luther nowhere to go. They'll make contact Sage Luther back to 5th. 2 laps to go for Michael Kennedy.
Kennedy all out front on his own. Marlowe kind of tucking in, folding suit to the high side there. He's going to run the bottom. Just try to cash in on this second place finish here. Try to get a little bit better start in the feature. But the battle between Sage Luther and the 28 of Blake Brown, really a good one here as Sage Luther goes back to the top. But they're going to work their way down the front stretch, and that'll be the end of it. Kennedy will take the win. Marlowe will end up second. Coming in third will be the 28 of Blake Brown after starting in the back, then Sage Luther, and it's going to be the 6 of Jeff Helton.
Tough break for the 117 of Prairie. He'll have to start deep in tonight's feature event. As now we're going to go with heat race number 5 of 6 as they start to take to the grid. And there's a lot. This one has a lot of fast drivers in it, Justin. We saw in the previous heat round, heat race number 2 for these guys, they're not afraid to mix it up. And starting on the front row will be car number 21, the driver that hails from Marion, Arkansas, with the Mid-South Mafia entry, the number 21. This is Kyle Vandergriff. Starting on the outside of him, last week's feature event winner at Lanier, the 00, hit the JDM Designs Hood Up Rocket Racing, car number 00. This is John Darby. Starting on the inside of row number 2, excuse me, that'll be the car number 1. That is Thomas Vickers. And starting to his inside will be car number 51 of Jacob Lassiter. Starting 5th will be the 71 of Mario Perez. Outside of him, the 18 junior of James Braswell. And shotgun on the field, the 38 of Larry Townsend. 7 cars, 12 laps is the distance. A lot of points on the line for your current points leader. He knows he's given up a little bit of room, but his second place battle in the championship is starting on the front row this heat race.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if these guys learned anything from this first heat race as they go green down the first stretch. Contact between Vandergriff and the 00 entry of Darby as they work down the backstretch. Vandergriff trying to stick to that bottom. Darby float in the middle, but he's going to have some company onto that inside line now. That 51 of Lassiter looking real sharp on the bottom. That car is digging on the inside of Darby, almost 3 wide as they head into 3. Lassiter has to check up. He's got the left front way hiked up in the air, and he'll settle back into 3rd.
Already 2 laps into this 12-lap contest, and we've got him 3 wide off of turn number 4. The 71 of Perez up to 3rd, making his first start. They are 4 wide doing the Joy Chitwich show. That's the 38 of Townsend and the 18 of Braswell. They were up on 2 wheels. The Ute tires are out, and they are hungry tonight. Up at the front of this one, a bid for your race lead, but Darby's going to have to back out of it for the time being, as that inside line is getting smaller and smaller and down towards those Ute tires. Darby working their 1 car up and over. That's the number 1 of Vickers, and he will stick the landing, but the yellow flag will come out. So the number 1 of Vickers going for a ride there, got down a little bit too low, caught the Ute tires, and I can tell you from experience there, boys and girls, it is not a fun ride. Let's take a look back and go on board with Thomas Vickers.
Yeah, with the setup in these cars, you can see the left side's hiked way up, and he tried to make a bid to the very bottom, trying to get a run, and just caught them left sides on that Ute tire. Automatically tosses him off the track, and there is nothing he could do at that point in time.
So we'll put the unofficial Autocraft Paint and Body Works flip count at 1. I believe that's the first car that we've seen go over here tonight. Green flag back out, though, just like that. We're back underway. Vandergriff ready to go. Here comes Darby. Contact between your top 2. They were there. All of that is going to allow Mario Perez to your race lead, but yellow flag is coming out as it looked like maybe the 21 of Vandergriff missed the bottom, and Darby came in with a head of steam, and both of those drivers making contact there in that initial wreck, or on the restart here in turn number 1. Let's take a look back and see what exactly happened to bring out our second yellow flag in heat race number 2, or number 5, presented by FEGPC.
Yeah, you can kind of see the 21 of Vandergrift when he gets to that start-finish line. Got a little bit of a push and doesn't quite get in where he needs to be. Lifts a little bit, and then the 00 Darby gets into it. And then the rest of the field files in. Eventually, Vandergrift gets spun out to the infield.
Yeah, and it's off the nose of his teammate, the 18 of Braswell, but nowhere for him to really go. And it's one of those things, once you get these cars pitched into the corner like they were, there was nothing that the number 00 was going to do. But John Darby has been sent tail, and Vandergrift going to get his spot back at the front of the field.
Yeah, I'll tell you who you got to watch, though. Mario Perez, he's been working that outside line for the past 2 laps, and he's really been reeling in your leaders. He actually got a good run on him there before the yellow flag came out on that last caution. So I'm looking to see Vandergrift go to the bottom and Perez to charge to the outside, and we'll see what happens on this restart.
Top 2 single file, double file back there. Lassiter and Townsend, they are double file. Green flag is back out. We're back underway in the FEG PC heat race number 5. Perez going to draw even with the 21 of Vandergrift, that time down in the turn number 3 and 4. And you can really see the speed that the 71 of Perez is able to carry around the outside. And he runs that outside like very, very, very smoothly. You don't see a wrinkle on that right rear. So he's keeping it off the wall with just 4 laps to go, and a new race leader, Vandergrift, working down to the inside, but one driver starting to make his way back through. That's a 00 Darby. He works underneath Braswell as Braswell goes to the outside in turn number 3.
Yeah, Perez still working that top line. Vandergrift's going to follow him up there, see if he's got anything up top. But whoa, big loose free off, and he's going to get the challenge from Thomas Vickers in that one. But Vickers will pick the inside tire. He'll give all that room he gained back to Vandergrift, and Vandergrift will kind of shut it down, get back to that bottom. But behind Vickers, we've got that 00 car, Darby. He's working his way back through. A little bit of heavy damage on the backside, but he's really working his way back up. His white flag is out. 1 more lap to go.
Yeah, Perez down the backstretch for the final time in the turn number 3. Coming at you off of turn number 3. Mario Perez in his 2nd race with the series. First time out here tonight. He'll pick up heat race number 5. Vandergrift, Vickers, Darby, Braswell, Townsend, and Lassiter will round out your field. And just like that, we're going to head into our 6th and final heat race of the evening. And these drivers are ready to put on a show for you here in heat race number 6. And this is what your starting lineup will look like here tonight. Tyler Carter in car number 20. The driver out of Marion, Arkansas, the Braswell Trucking. Car number 20. He'll start on the pole. Outside of him will be the 427. This driver calls Ridgeland, Mississippi. Or that could be Missouri. Probably Missouri, right, Justin? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what we're going with.
We'll go with that. Missouri here, the KMF Designs Soul Sets Racing number 427. It is James Ferguson. Starting in spot number 3 out of Conway, Arkansas, it'll be number 23 of Matt George to his outside. The 44 out of Jonesboro, Arkansas, Mike Stevenson. Starting 5th on the grid, car number 109. This is Alan Duranco. And outside of him, the 58 out of Florida, Trent McLeod. And shotgun on the field. We saw him have speed early on in the 3rd heat race. It'll be the 31 of Justin Holt. And I can tell you from experience that the 31 will not be out back very long here tonight at the Fairbury Speedway. Our 6th and final qualifying event coming up at you as the pace truck will peel off the racing surface, and these guys will get ready to go green flag racing, this time off of turn number 4.
Carter and Ferguson leading them down the backstretch. Nice, slow, and even pace. A little bit of leaning on each other now as they work through 3. And Carter will stab the gas, diamond off the corner, get the left sides off the ground. Ferguson, though, with a terrible start, ends up losing a bunch of time, and he will slide it into 1. And almost go all the way to the back. So actually the opposite of the first round of heats. He's going to go from the front to the back this time. Unfortunate for Ferguson. But we've got Carter working the top line up front. George battling his way down to the inside, trying to find a little bit left of that grip down on the bottom. But it's a fine line to the tractor tires. He's making it work, though. Starting to get a run going on Carter. If he can link a couple laps together, he might be able to slide his way to the front.
Yeah, Carter working the outside of the racetrack really well right now. George down low. And how about the 31? I told you to keep an eye on him. He runs on the outside looking for a third place run. Right now, George gets a little bit sideways into the slick. He'll lose some ground as Ferguson tried to make it 3 wide underneath the 109 of Duranco. So Ferguson now starting to roll back towards the front. He had drawn back to the 6th spot. He's back to 5th and looking for more. So Ferguson is rolling the bottom of the racetrack, all following the number 20 of your race leader upside down. We have a turtle situation down in turn number 3. Yellow, yellow, yellow. Tyler Carter, your race leader, had gone upside down here on lap number 4. Let's take a look back and see what happened to bring out our first yellow flag of the Sim Motion Heat Race number 6.
Yeah, it's kind of been the topic of the night, Al, that top side. Very fine line. You can see the car pick up a little bit of push in between 1 and 2, and it just pops that right front in the air. Gets him up on the wall, and then before you know it, the air gets underneath the car, and he's on his roof. Full turtle shell situation going into 3.
Yeah, tough break as we go on board with the Sim Motion onboard camera with the number 20 of Carter. Just we talked about it early on in this event here as Carter sits on pit road as we get ready to go back. Green flag race, the pace truck down in the way. How it's very fast running up front, up at the top of the racetrack, but there's a fine line into the restart. They go. Green flag is up. We're back underway. George will lead them in the turn number 1, but here comes Ferguson 3 wide for spot number 2.
Yeah, that restart a lot more gracious for Ferguson as he gets right down to that bottom line. He should have a good run coming off of 4. The car hikes up a little bit, gets a little unsettled, but he's really making that bottom work now as he's worked his way past half the field, working his way to the inside now, trying to get by Duranco for that 3rd spot. He's going to move up a little bit where in front of him Holt gets in trouble as he picks the tire through 3 and 4. Real tough battle now for this 3rd position, and it's heating up as we're getting towards the tail end of this heat race.
Just past the halfway point this time. That'll be 4 laps to go, and they are digging for all the moisture that they can get. George runs right above that moisture line, kind of in the middle of the corner as he's doing a great job. Holt up to your number 2 spot, but yellow flag coming out once again. I believe Alan Duranco has gone around in car number 109, and it'll have a yellow flag here with 3 to go. Let's take a look back and see what happened to Duranco.
Yeah, that 109 Alan Duranco, he started really carrying the momentum on the top there. Knew everyone was on the bottom, and if he had to make it work, it was going to be up top. Unfortunately, got that little bit of snug tight in the middle, pushed the right front to the wall, and then before you know it, around it went.
Yeah, tough break there for the driver of the 109 of Duranco. As he catches back to the back of the field. Tyler Carter back out onto the racetrack as well. But with just 3 laps remaining, coming to the green here with a single file restart. George trying to rebound here up. He started in that 3rd position. Third position. He's looking to go to victory lane to start 3rd in the feature. Green flag is out. Justin Holt with the great momentum down the front stretch. Down in the turn number 1 they go. Here comes Ferguson. He's digging down low. The eyes are really glowing on that 427.
Yeah, Ferguson trying to make his way back up higher in this heat race order. But right now, George moving his way to the middle of the top. We've seen him kind of be on that bottom middle lane, really carrying the momentum through that slick. But Holt's going to challenge him down to the bottom into 3. A little bit of a push for George. That'll give Holt some room. Now Ferguson working his way to the inside as we complete this final lap now as we head down the backstretch.
Final trip down the backstretch. It'll be Holt trying to go from last to first in 12 laps, and Justin Holt is going to pick up the win. Ferguson with a strong 2nd place. George will come home 3rd. Stevenson, Duranco, McLeod, and Carter will all round out your field. And just like that, well, qualifications are done here for tonight. And whoa, can you believe the action that we just saw here? We saw these guys really working the bottom of the racetrack. We saw guys working the outside of the racetrack as they go out for some hot laps here. Justin, what are your thoughts headed into tonight's 75-lap main event?
Yeah, Ferguson had a great rally in that last heat race. So what it's going to come down to, I think a lot of it's going to be patience. There's a lot of laps. There are 75 laps here. They click off quick at Fairbury, but a little bit of a mistake can really set you back on as far as track position goes. So you really just want to be patient, let the race come to you, let the guys make mistakes in front of you, and just run a kind of a smooth, even keel line. But you also want to be able to read the track and know when to change lanes. This track does eventually change. It'll be topside dominant, and then it'll go back to the bottom. So you really need to be able to pay attention and see which lane you need to be in to work your way forward.
Yeah, right now, last minute hot lap sessions for the racers. Well, we got a moment. We want to thank everybody for tuning on in here tonight to the All-Star Racing Series, brought to you by Autocraft Paint and Body Works. And Justin, well, if you ever crack up your automobile, you have to look up these guys, Autocraft Body Works. They are the premier sponsor, the presenting sponsor of this series, and they are a full-service auto collision shop located in Brooklyn, Arkansas. You can find out more information about how they can help you if you happen to get into a fender bender. It is at autocraftnea.com. We also want to thank ABR Setup Shop. They are your one-stop shop for full services on setups, weekly setups, custom individual setups, and individual coaching. You can learn from the three-time world champion Alex Bergeron and company. You can find out more information at abrsetupshop.com. JDM Designs. You want to look like the cars out here and want to look your best and fancy? You got to think JDM Designs. Here is the official painter of the All-Star Racing Series. FEG PC, you in the market for a new PC to get into iRacing or upgrade your current rig, FEGPC.net. Sim Motion, the proud sponsor of the All-Star Racing Series, and it's your one-stop shop for sim race chassis, pedals, wheels, and anything to do with sim racing. It is Sim Motion. And Inside Sim Racing TV. Find out more information and find them on the web at isrtv.com. Well, just like that, we are ready to go. Hot laps are in the books, and we are getting ready to go with tonight's feature event. 75 laps is going to be the distance, and this is your 18-car starting field here tonight as they get ready to roll around. Starting on the pole, the car number 58, it is Trent McLeod. Starting to the outside of him will be car number 38. It is Larry Townsend. Jeremy Prey going to roll off in spot number 3. Start off fourth will be the 109 of Alan Duranco. James Braswell, Jeff Helton making up row number 3. Row number 4 is going to Mike Stevens. John Darby in row number 4. Sage Luther and Matt George, row number 5. Thomas Vickers and Blake Brown in row number 6. And a little bit deeper in the field will be the James Ferguson, car number 4, 27, 13, Kyle Vandergriff, Brandon Morrow, Justin Holt, Mario Perez, and Michael Kennedy. As you see them pacing there right behind the pace track, you look down on them. They are doing the missing man formation in honor of Memorial Day. We want to thank the families of all the service women and men who have done the ultimate sacrifice for us to enjoy our freedoms here in the United States of America, and we really can't thank them enough, as we know that it is a tough thing to, for these families. We appreciate and salute all the men and women who have lost their life and given their ultimate sacrifice to allow us to enjoy our freedoms that we enjoy, like doing racing here on a Tuesday night with the All-Star Racing Series.
All right, the field pacing back 2 by 2 now as we complete our missing man formation in honor of Memorial Day. After a 3-day Memorial Day weekend, I couldn't think of a better way to cap it off than being here on a Tuesday night. Fairbury, Pro Late Models. This should be a hell of a show.
It's going to be one hell of a show. That is right. Hopefully you strapped yourself into that Barca Lounger, had the 5-point harness, and Grandma put your teeth in your pocketbook. It is time to go racing. Green flag is up, and McLeod going to lead them down into turn number 1. Prey with the 117 going to roll into number 2 spot. 3 wide as they all fan out down the backstretch. We see him a little car out of shape. Yellow flag coming out. Looks like the 427 of Stevenson had gone around at the back of the field. The 109 of Durango coming out as well. So just as quick as we went green, we are back underneath yellow flag. We're a little bit of a mishap down there in turn number 3 and 4. Let's take a look and see what happened to the 427 of Ferguson.
Yeah, as they get the initial green going down into 1, looks like Sage Luther started coming around a little bit. The 1 gets on the binders, and then poor James Ferguson, another tough start for him. He's going to have to work his way from the back to the front once again, but it looks like not a whole lot of damage on that car, so he should be able to file in and work his way back up through.
Yeah, not a lot of damage on that number 427. Very, very light contact on the right front. So it looks like they should be able to get everything pointed back in the right direction. But the field doubling up. It is going to be Trent McLeod and Jeremy Prey up on the front row. Larry Townsend, Jeff Helt in row number 2. Here we go. Green flag is up, and we are back underway in the All-Star Racing Series. Crown Jewel event number 1. 75 laps is the distance, and it'll be the 58 of McLeod showing the way right now. Is yellow flag going to come back out?
Big trouble between 1 and 2. We've got cars scattered everywhere. Looks like everybody tried to file in towards the top, and we've got a handful of cars around.
Taking a look back here to 28 of Blake Brown up and over. Let's take a look back here and see what happened. You see Blake Brown get on the gas, a little bit out of shape. Gets down in the corner and has already started in front of him. Helton was turned sideways. He checked up, and the 31 of Holt could not see past the spoiler of the 28, and up and over. The 28 would go, well, not up and over, but around in the spin cycle.
Yeah, what's really tough for people watching at home to judge is that once you get in behind somebody and commit through that corner, you cannot see past that spoiler of the car in front of you. So a lot of people are like, man, he ran right into him. And you saw the 28, he checked up for the trouble in front of him. Unfortunately, the message didn't get delivered behind him, and he got involved and ended up on his roof.
Coming through here, we're going to go back green flag race in the 58 of McLeod. Going to step back on the loud pedal. He'll dump the fuel into the carburetor. We're back underway. Single file restart. A little bit back here, side by side. Larry Townsend trying to work in the bottom of the racetrack. He's got Braswell. Your championship leader did not have a good qualifying here tonight, but he sits in the 4th spot as they work down here in the turns 1 and 2. See them side by side down the backstretch with Larry Townsend.
Yeah, we've got Prey now working that middle line, but there's a challenge for the 3rd position. Townsend works his way through to the bottom, makes his way around the 18 of Baswell Jr. Baswell Jr. now going to battle back to the inside of the 38 of Townsend, but they're trying to figure out which lane do they need to be in right now. Baswell Jr. committing to the bottom, but yellow caution is out on the speedway.
Matt George in car number 23 has gone around, bringing out our 3rd yellow flag of the evening. Close quarter racing here at the Fairbury Speedway. Let's take a look and see what happened to the 23 of George. You see him racing down to the inside. Sage Luther on the outside. He got to run down the back stretch and into turn number 3. Oh, one of those juke tires, and the flip count has gone to number 2 as Matt George ends up turtled in turn number 4.
Yeah, the flip counter's been hard to keep track of. I think we're up to number 4 now, as this is going to be our 2nd over-the-top flip of the night. But that 23 of George, he's had a fast run in the heat race. Unfortunately, he gets in a little bit too hot, a little bit too soon, gets that infield tractor tire, and the tire claims another.
Get ready to go back. Green flag racing. One more trip around the speedway. Yellow flag staying out onto the racetrack. One thing I am noticing right now is the middle of the racetrack seems to have a little bit of grip. The outside, obviously, you can rip the lip around here, but that moisture down by the Ute tires is getting smaller and smaller. As the green flag now starting to come back out. Green flag is back out as they cross line. Lap number 8 started, and it'll be McLeod has led it since the green flag has dropped. A little bit deeper in the field, Kennedy side by side with the number 1 of Vickers.
Yeah, Vickers and Kennedy side by side as they work through 3 and 4 now. The top 4 or 5 cars filed in single file, everybody trying to find a spot where they can run. But the battle behind him right now, that's going to be Vickers and Kennedy going at it, door to door, meeting down the straightaway. Kennedy on the bottom, Vickers on the outside. Now it looks like Kennedy's going to fall victim to the 31 of Holt. Holt real fast. He's showing his way through the middle now as he works side by side with Kennedy. And then Mario Perez working that outside. We seen him do that in the heat race. He can run that outside as smooth as glass, and he's trying to get it working now as we work our way around lap number 11 of this feature.
Perez started back in the 17th position, up 9 spots now as he runs in spot number 8. Working through the corner, Vickers works down low. Still 2x2 all the way around here. Michael Kennedy and John Darby, the winner from 1 week ago. They're doing battle back here. This is the battle for 10th. Darby now takes that away, pushing Kennedy back to the 11th position as Mario Perez tries to run down low. Sage Luther will make contact. They still keep it pointed in the right direction. We stay green. Everybody doing a good job. 2 distinct lines as we look from our drone cam presented by ABR Setup Shop. You see them working the racetrack right now. This early stage of the 75 lap feature event.
Yeah, Darby committed to the bottom along with Sage Luther. Luther going to run the top through 1 and 2. You can see that that'll change here as the night goes. You'll see guys run the top in 1 and 2 or 3 and 4 and then switch back down to the bottom. They're just trying to get up the most momentum they can down the straightaway, try to get a run and then file back in where they want to be. But Mario Perez still committed to that top side as he works his way around the outside. He's all the way up now to 7th, so he's trying to march his way forward. Still plenty of time left. But a lot of these drivers trying to see where they need to run and who they need to set up to make moves towards the front.
Challenge for your race lead, though, off turn number 4 to 18 of Braswell rolls the bottom, the outside of McLeod in the 58 slide job line up the racetrack off the corner, but Braswell going to have the race lead as they enter turn number 3 and 4 as we go on board watching the driver work down low. Very easy and patient on the throttle down there. You can't jump on the gas until you get it hooked. And Braswell doing a masterful job on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, it's real tough to run that bottom like he is. Real patient, just letting the car float through the middle, easing onto the gas, trying to stay to the brown till the middle of the backstretch. Really working that bottom. We haven't seen anybody really go forward on the bottom. It's really been the middle to the top's been moving. You saw McLeod, he's now working the middle, trying to run the bottom. But that one car, Thomas Vickers, he's really making his way up through. We saw him battling it for 10th position along those lines. And now he's up to the top 3 as some of this top 5, top 6 is really starting to fade backwards.
Yeah, Vickers really doing a good job. He's going to get around the 58 of McLeod here. This yellow flag will come out. The 28 of Blake Brown facing southbound in a northbound lane in turns 3 and 4. So a tough break for the driver of the 28 as he will get pointed back out into the racetrack. The yellow flag flying for our 5th yellow flag of the evening. Let's take a look and see what happened to the 28 of Blake Brown.
Yeah, these guys right in front of your leaders here, they've really been trying to stay on the lead lap, but the 28 of Blake Brown, maybe some damage from earlier on. Something just definitely went wrong as he headed into 3 and had no choice but to back it around and stay out of the way of everybody else. Unfortunate. Good-looking race car for that 28. Not a color combination you really see a whole lot of with the bright green and the orange and the purple, but I dig it. It's a good-looking car.
Yeah, one of the sharpest race cars out on the racetrack, and he was doing battle with Jeff Helton, and maybe something gone awry on that 28, but they were able to get it pointed back in the right direction. He is back out on the racetrack. So Braswell and McLeod up on the front row, and it'll be the number 1 of Thomas Vickers and Larry Townsend. But how about the hard-charging Mario Perez in his first race with the series? Has started, is in now the 5th spot after starting 17th as we get ready to go for a restart here in turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, Matt George is getting the wave around here, so we're going to throw the yellow flag back out, get him back lined up. That'll help him out. He was fast in his heat race, so maybe he can kind of make his way forward. But Braswell Jr. running that bottom line masterfully. He's got everybody else behind him really digging as the pace car shoots off to the infield. We're going to get back to green here as they head down the backstretch.
Braswell trying to become our first repeat winner of the season That has been the mind-blowing stat for me, is McLeod trying to get back on the gas pedals. Now, George will get another lap back here. So we're trying to get everything squared away with the Fairbury racetrack. There is a little bit of a glitch in the scoring, so that can definitely cause some issues. And the race officials here in the All-Star Racing Series trying to be as fair as possible to all the racers. Is now we should have a restart this time off turn number 4, and Braswell ready to go. McLeod was ready to go as well. Drag race almost 3 wide for spot number 2.
Yeah, big 3, 4 wide now. We got the 38 heading the wrong way, and big stack up. Half the field in trouble here in 1 and 2. A lot of cars, heavy damage.
One car upside down in turn number 3. I believe that is the 109 of Alan Duranco in your race leader, making contact there. So Duranco going to have to get the quick tow to pit road here.
Where are we at? 6 maybe, I think, on the flip counter?
It possibly could be 6. And, well, I can tell you right now that they can head down to the Autocraft Paint and Body Works and get that body banged out. It'll look good, like brand new here. So let's take a look back here and see what happened to bring out this yellow flag.
Yeah, it looks like Sage Luther got a big run on the top, and everyone just kind of washed up into him. Not much you could do there. Then Holt gets into it, and a whole separate incident towards the back there puts the 109 on his roof.
One of those things where yellow cautions breed cautions here as we get ready for a single final restart. Braswell going to lead them in the turn number 3. Green flag coming back out, and we are back underway. Here is lap 24. McLeod was ready to go. He's all over the back bumper, the 18 of Braswell.
Yeah, these officials are not messing around here. We're hurrying the cautions along, but it's Braswell Jr. back out front, working that bottom line as he heads down into the corner. Vickers on the outside. He's going to bring McLeod with him, and then right behind them, Mario Perez, still living by the top side. He's not gone to the bottom yet, but the only car working the bottom in that vicinity is Townsend. Townsend lost a little bit of ground to the leaders after that caution. You can see that right rear damage might be affecting him a little bit as Sage Luther works his way around the outside of Townsend now. Might be time to switch lanes and see what that topside's all about for the 38.
Braswell's got company in the form of the 1 of Vickers. Vickers bounces it off the outside concrete down the backstretch, but new race leader on lap 27. Vickers has gone to the race lead after starting 11th. Now Braswell sees Vickers go to the outside, so now he'll move to the outside line. But you can see with the young driver, the 18 junior of Braswell, can keep pace with the 1 of Vickers. He's doing well up there on the outside. Mario Perez runs in spot number 4. Sage Luther in the 5th spot. Larry Townsend working the middle of the racetracks, though, down there on the bottom. He's got the 98 of Kennedy, about 10 car lengths off the back bumper.
Yeah, Braswell trying that outside line now. A little bit loose off of 4, but McLeod's following him up there, too. It looks like the 1 car just really figured it out before everybody else. We saw him working his way towards the front, being super patient, as Vickers leading him through 3 and 4. A little bit of right rear quarter damage, but for the most part, for the amount of cars he's passed, Vickers taking really good care of that car. We're 32 laps in now, so he's got plenty of time to just run his pace, run his line on that outside, try to settle in and start clicking laps off.
Heavy lap traffic in front of your race leader as we go on board with the Sim Motion onboard camera. The 427 of Ferguson working the outside of the racetrack as well as the 1 of Victor works the outside. The one thing that I'm noticing, Justin, and I'm not sure if you are, it looks like the 1 car maybe have set it up a little bit on the tighter side, and that seems to maybe be helping him. You don't see a lot of counter steer in that number 1 as he works around the outside of Ferguson and Duranco in car number 109. So Vickers really setting a torrid pace, 13.44 1 lap ago, and that was the fastest lap on the racetrack.
Yeah, you can see Vickers really stabbing the brake pedal trying to get that car in to rotate. But the one thing about having a tight car a little early on is you get a little nervous. Maybe that car will tighten up. Maybe the track will take rubber. You can see him. He's really starting to lose his pace a little bit. He's really flirting with that line. Trouble down the front stretch now. Looks like Ferguson getting turned around in front of your leaders.
Ferguson gonna go around here. Everybody pointed back in the right direction as the yellow flag will come out here once again. That is our 7th yellow flag here. Lap 37 in the books. They are working lap 38. And talking about some of the comers and goers so far here tonight, it has been the number 1 of Vickers showing the way. He's working it outside of the racetrack as he is your current race leader. And then in your number 2 spot, his timing and scoring will get updated here for us. I believe Braswell still holds on to spot number 2. Then it is the 58, Trent McLeod and Mario Perez. And Sage Luther rounding out that top 5 here as we close in on the halfway point of this 75 lap main event.
Yeah, the halfway mark now. Drivers starting to really think about where they need to be and what needs to go on for them to try to figure out a way to get to the front or stay up front. Still plenty of time left, so just be a little patient, and we're trying to get timing and scoring settled in here, get these drivers lined up, so we'll be going green here shortly, but just a little bit of a scoring glitch going on right now.
Yeah, the yellow flag being extended here for is the race officials getting everybody into their proper running order. They were ready to go, and yellow flag coming out immediately once again here. But we want to thank everybody for tuning on in here to the Turn 3 Racing Network, as tonight's a racing of the All-Star Racing Series presented by Autocraft Paint and Body Works here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. If it's your first time tuning in here, hit that little subscribe button on the YouTube side, and that'll get you notifications every time the All-Star Racing Series takes the green flag here on a Tuesday night. We have racing from these tight little bull rings to the high banks of Daytona to the road course Dakota and all over the world. We have every form of racing right here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. And if you are not subscribing, you're missing out on a lot of racing week in and week out here. Hit that little subscribe button, or even better yet, hit that thumbs up. Let these drivers know that you appreciate what they are doing for you out here on the racetrack here tonight. This track, not an easy one, and it is very slick right now out on this racetrack.
All right, it's going to be single file, going to be going green. This time by Race Control gives the drivers the heads up. Pace trucks on the infield. Thomas Vickers is going to lead him through 3 and 4. He stands on the gas, gives it the cut down line as he heads down the straightaway, and he will immediately commit to that top line. Big send for the 58 of McLeod as he makes contact with Braswell. Now you got the 71 digging low of Mario Perez. Perez looking through the middle, and right underneath them, you've got that 26 car, Sage Luther, on the very, very bottom. Haven't heard a lot of the Sage Luther yet, but he showed speed in the heat races. It'll be interesting to see if he commits to this bottom line to get him up towards the front.
Right now, kind of got to go where they are not. Larry Townsend also working the bottom of the racetrack. Now they'll migrate towards the top. But haymakers being thrown for spot number 2. Braswell has it. McLeod wants it as they still battle it out. 71 of Perez will get into the back side of the McLeod. He has to check up. Everybody keeping it pointed in the right direction. Here comes the 98 of Kennedy. Slide job. They're all banging off each other down the backstretch.
Yeah, this battle's really heated up for third. You got McLeod throwing big haymakers on Braswell. And then I don't know if the 71 of Perez decided he's seen enough of that. Gives the 56 the little tap there and gets him off of Braswell. Now they settle in. Sage Luther still committed to the bottom now as he works to the inside of the 98 of Kennedy. Kennedy working his way back up through as contact between Sage Luther now. He feels the steam off the 38 of Townsend. Townsend working through the middle, and then behind them is Darby looking for a mistake out of them two. Oh, trouble for the 26 of Luther. Carries a little bit too much steam headed in. Darby gets around, and Townsend opens up the gap on him as Townsend locks up the 6th spot and moved Darby up to 7th.
Yeah, Darby really doing a great job there. Quiet night for the winner from 1 week ago as now the yellow flag has come out. Michael Kennedy was down. I'm not sure what the yellow flag is for.
Big trouble for Perez. Got it right up on the wall, was riding the wall all the way through 3 and 4, 2 wheels off the ground. Pretty sure that's going to be what the caution was for.
We just caught the tail end of it here, the 71 up the racetrack. Let's see if we can catch it one time ago. He tried to slide the 58 of McLeod, and then he got up on the outside wall. and that will wreak havoc to the suspension. You can see the suspension seems to be out of the 71, so he'll have to take that pit side. So tough break for the driver of the 71, Mario Perez. His yellow flag comes out here once again.
Yeah, that battle for that top 3 to top 5 was really heating up. I mean, we're not even within the 20 lap to go mark, and these guys are acting like there's 10 laps to go. They want to get that track position early on these restarts. They're worried about that one car checking out on him. I mean, he has been real strong here these past 10, 15 laps. As soon as he settles in, Vickers really gets a good run going on the outside. These drivers know if they want to get involved, they got to strike early.
They definitely got to get on the gas pedal. Vickers has gone through the field, carved him up like a butcher, and now sits at the front of this one. He'll lead them down here in the turn number 3. He'll jump on the gas pedal. We are back underway. Bid for your number 2 spot. McLeod taking a peek to the inside of the 18 of Braswell. Here comes 3 wide for spot number 5. Larry Townsend working the middle. Here comes John Darby. He picked up the win 1 week ago, and Darby really using the bottom of the racetrack and making it work all night long as he sits back there in spot number 6.
Yeah, we saw a big slider from McLeod. Didn't quite work out for him. He's still working around the 28 there, trying to get around him. But the 38 of Townsend's really committed to the bottom. I think Darby showed him the nose, and he saw something he liked, but he floats up to the middle. Darby now will get to the inside of him. Sage Luther on the outside of Townsend. This is a 3-car battle now right here for that 5th spot. And these guys are not giving each other a whole lot of room as they're trying to figure out, oh, trouble for Townsend. Into the backstretch wall, loses some ground to Darby. Darby's still working on the bottom. He's going to try to work his way up to Sage Luther, but Townsend stands strong through the middle.
Yeah, one driver on the move is the 71 of Perez. See him working the outside of the racetrack. Came down pit road. The crew able to fix the suspension with 25 laps to go. He is now trying to crack inside the top 10. Perez was up in a podium spot as he has to check up for the 44 of Stevenson, that time off turn number 3. Everybody up at the front of this one, side by side for second as Braswell holds on to it, but McLeod all over the back. One car going around, the 98 of Kennedy going to go around. He is facing in the wrong direction. Darby involved, 31 of Holt also involved here in turn number 2.
Yeah, it seems like that 3rd position is where all the action is. Saw the 98 of Kennedy. He got up into the wall, started riding a little bit. Sage Luther on the boards. Didn't really have a whole lot of time to lift and ends up putting the 98 of Kennedy around. Unfortunately, Holt was involved and 2 other fast cars as well in that middle group.
Yeah, looking on the entry of turn number 1, 98 of Kennedy. Abe was hard in the outside wall. That really killed the momentum for the driver of the 98. And then the number 26 going into the corner. We'll watch it one more time here from a different angle view of the Treadway Motorsports number 98. He gets in the outside wall and it really slowed him down, and Luther nowhere to go. And then the 98 hard on the gas, and he collects the 00 of Darby, which is a tough break for the driver of the 00 as he was running well up inside the top 10. Now Darby's going to have to go tail side here after being involved in that yellow flag. So that's a tough break for the 00 of Darby. So tough break for the JDM Designs Beard FX car number 00. He was really working the bottom of the racetrack, and that was one of the things that I was paying attention to. He had his nose sniffing those Uke tires, and maybe if those Uke tires had one extra layer of paint on there would have been contact, but he was able to work the bottom like no one else has been able to deep in this feature event.
Yeah, Darby really working that bottom line. We wanted to see if he could make it all the way to the front there, but unfortunately he got collected up in that caution. Green flag is back out. Vickers will stand on the gas as they head down into 1. You've got Braswell looking to the inside, and there's that slider from McLeod. McLeod throwing everything he can, but he'll lose a spot to Sage Luther now. Luther on that outside line. He's trying to work his way out, and we've got a caution.
One car going around in the spin cycle once again as we look down on the racetrack from the Autocraft Paint and Body Works blimp cam. Let's take a look here and see what happened. Looks like the 44 of Stevenson had gone around. Not sure if he had a helping hand here. Let's see. The truck says they got one more look at it. He was racing with a 109 in Duranico and the 71 of Perez. Perez right there in front of him down the backstretch. They go into the corner. Oh, and Mario Perez gets on the backside of the 44 of Stevenson. Around the spin cycle they go. They get pointed back in the right direction, but we are woed for the 10th time here tonight.
Yeah, everybody's starting to get a little chippy now. Not really lifting for each other, but it's getting to be that business time of the race as the pace car heads its way down the infield. Thomas Vickers has been unchallenged on the front, but we're going to bring the pace car back out, re-go over the scoring here, and make sure we've got this lineup where we want it before we go green.
Mario Perez down on pit road trying to get damage fixed on the 71. Matt George has retired from the event, I do believe. Jeff Helton sits down on pit road. And Kyle Vandergriff, tough break for the driver of the 21. He had a good night going, finds himself in the pits right now. Green flag back up here, 22 laps to go for Vickers, who has a 3-car length advantage into turn number 2.
Yeah, Vickers leading him down the backstretch. Braswell trying to hang with Vickers, but he's getting challenged from the 58 of McLeod. McLeod has been a thorn in Braswell's side for the past 10-15 laps. Big slider just barely misses Braswell as the 26 of Luther gives a little bit of pressure to McLeod. But everybody filing in on that top line now. The only car that we can see on the bottom is looking like... Oh, and we've got caution now. Caution back out on the speedway.
Yellow flag coming up to 427 of James Ferguson has gone around here, and he gets it pointed back in the right direction with that number 27 KMF on the wing spoiler panel here. Let's take a look, see what happened to Ferguson. Ferguson down low, racing with the 28 of Blake Brown. He'll get a little bit sideways there down the backstretch. John Darby has it. Oh, just contact with the 28 of Brown, and just kind of got the car 90 degrees sideways, and well, that was enough to bring out the yellow flag. Really no harm, no foul there. Just Ferguson and Brown making a little bit of contact there as we come back to live pictures of Ferguson catching up in the back of the field. I was just getting ready to talk about this driver. Where did he come from? The number 31 of Justin Holt. He's in the 5th spot. Quiet night all night long. Haven't really talked about him much in this feature event. He finds himself in the 5th spot. Can he go to victory lane here tonight? He's going to have to wrestle it from Thomas Vickers. Green flag is out. We're back underway.
Vickers leads the way as they head into 1. Commits to that top side line as he has been this whole second half of the feature. Right now, though, McLeod going to look to the inside of Braswell Jr. Braswell, a little bit of trouble off of 4, pushes up into the wall. That'll give McLeod a run on the bottom. Big slider for McLeod. Braswell Jr. will cross him over. Sage Luther giving a little bit of business to the 58 of McLeod. Luther wants to get involved with this battle now as they work their way for second. But the 1 of Vickers getting into the front stretch wall a little bit. That'll give some room for McLeod and Braswell Jr. to work their way back up through. But then we've got Sage Luther just sitting back watching this all go along. And right behind him, it's going to be Justin Holt. Justin Holt just staying smooth and steady. Oh, big cross-up from McLeod as he makes contact with Braswell Jr. now. Brad and McLeod and the 31 of Holt making contact. Big shake-up here in the top 5.
Holt now going to be challenged by the 26 of Luther after contact with the 28 of Trent. Now they will work down the backstretch. Luther down to the inside, but Holt now into your number 3 spot. Justin Holt, your hard charge of the race, up 13 positions. Started 16th on the grid here tonight. Finds himself in 3rd with 14 laps to go. 1.5 second lead has grown for the number 1 Vickers, who has stepped and started to stretch his legs out now with 13 laps to go. You see the sparks as the right rear banging off the cushion as he's done a great job all race long working the outside of the racetrack. Braswell runs in 2nd. 3rd is Sage Luther. This is a hornet's nest back here with 10 laps to go, or 12 laps to go. Loud and down the inside. Here comes the 26 of Luther. Luther's now in 3rd as he's gone around Justin Holt.
Yeah, Luther's just been pacing himself on that outside line now. Holt working the top side, but he's got the 38 Big slider. He makes contact with McLeod now as they come off a 2. McLeod loses 2 spots now coming off of that corner. Townsend trying to work his way through the middle. Holt now working his way to the inside as we got 10 laps to go. And McLeod has just been bouncing his way backwards here. He's got to get it gathered back up. Townsend a little free off. Now McLeod going to go to the inside of Townsend. Holt will go to the outside. All 3 cars changing lanes up for this lap here. And this has been a barn burner here for that 4th, 5th, and 6th spot. McLeod with a big slider makes contact with Townsend. And McLeod is just throwing haymakers out here as we're winding the laps down.
Yeah, McLeod now in the air 5th spot. How about the 109 of Duranco? There the 38 of Townsend hard in the inside of the number 58 of McLeod, and yellow flag coming out. Townsend sending it into turn number 1 and hard right door contact with the 58 of McLeod.
Yeah, we're just getting a little bit of words from race control. Trent McLeod going to be DQ'd for rough riding here. I think that was where Townsend was headed with that contact. I think everybody has had a tough time with McLeod sliders here, and guys started taking it in their own hands.
Yeah, we watch right now the 38 of Townsend working down the back stretch into the corner and sends it in, and there's contact between himself and the 58 of McLeod. And the yellow flag is going to come out. So tough break here for the 38 of Townsend as we are slowed here. Is this one starting to shape up with 9 laps to go. Not the yellow flag that the number 1 of Thomas Vickers wanted to see, as he is your current leader of this race. Had opened it up. Green flag back out, though. We are underway. Good battle for your number 2 spot. Braswell has the 28 of Luther underneath them. Oh, one car going to get turned sideways. That's the 26 of Luther and Holt down in front of Darby, and Darby will go around.
Yeah, that was a real tough start. Guys are really trying to challenge each other here. It seems like that 3rd place position is where you don't want to be. You just got a target on your back at that point.
Yeah, tough to get up there. You're trying to time the restart. The leader has the rights to fire when he can. Here is we roll underneath our 14th yellow flag of the evening, and what has become the battle of trying to stay out of the wrecks, as I guess is the best way of saying it. The wrecks that haven't been like car killers, but here at the racetrack at Fairbury, one little jingle and that will send you around, and well, the guys behind you know where to go.
Yeah, short track racing here at Fairbury is real tough. The lines get real thin, and guys start trying to make something out of nothing in a line that somebody's already in. That's what you see, but we've got Vickers here. He's going to lead his way back to another restart. Braswell trying to get a good restart, though. He's trying to work the bottom on the inside of Vickers, but he can't really make it get in. Vickers a little bit of contact with the wall in 1 and 2, but Braswell heavy on the gas off of 2 and will lose ground to the 1 of Vickers. Sage Luther now, he's still running that outside line, but he's going to have a little bit of competition now from Townsend. Townsend's been kind of committing to that middle. Now we've got it's the 109 of Alan Duranco. Duranco making his way back up to the field as he's in 5th spot as they cross the start-finish line.
4 laps to go now. 1 lap ago got the high 5 sign to go. This time through turns 3 and 4. It'll be the 3 laps to go. Is now Duranco working the outside, and not just so long ago, he was upside down, Justin. So nice rebound. He gets in the backside of the 38 of Townsend, but he lets off, and he'll get in the tassel. As the 38 of Townsend, he does the gentleman thing, lets Townsend kind of get it back in the shape, and now more contact down the front stretch. Now Duranco up the racetrack. Townsend up in there as well. Yellow flag coming out as the gloves have come off there. Duranco got into the backside of Townsend, let him gather it up, and then just incidental contact down the front stretch, and that'll send the 38 of Townsend around, and he is upside down in turn number 2.
Yeah, you know, the 109 of Duranco didn't really mean to get into him. He lifted for him quite a bit. The 38 of Townsend was playing him tight, and it almost looks like a little bit of the old net code there. 38 of Townsend making weird contact with the right rear 109, and then they went to the wall.
It does look like tough break there, and the 37 of Brandon Marlowe right there in that one as well. And a tough break for the driver of the 38 of Townsend, who had a great showing working his way up through the field. And will have to take the quick tow to back down there in the pit road. 2-lap shootout coming your way.
All right, the restart's going to be on the leader. That's going to be Thomas Vickers now in that one car. As he heads through 3 and 4, nice, steady, even pace. Stands on the gas, gives it the cut down, and he'll take the green with about 2 car lengths over the second place of Braswell. Braswell trying to hang tough in second, but he's got a little bit of pressure from that 26 of Sage Luther. Luther hasn't really been able to better that third place position as they come to the white flag now, Al. Take us home.
Final chip through turns 1 and 2. Thomas Vickers out in front of this one. Going to become our 6th different winner. This time off turn number 4. Vickers will pick up the win. The battle is for second. It'll be Braswell holding off Luther in a photo finish. Marlowe will come home third, and Justin Holt will come round out your top 5. Kennedy 6th, 7th will go to Prey. John Darby will rebound for a 9th, 8th place finish. Ferguson and Stevenson rounding out your top 10 here at the Fairbury Speedway, where we just witnessed the All-Star Racing Series presented by Autocraft Paint and Body Works. And Justin, just like that, this race is in the books, but Thomas Vickers picking up the win and doing it in dominant style once he got to the front, really rolling the outside, able to keep that car underneath him.
Yeah, congratulations to Thomas Vickers on that one car. Ran a real smart race, just didn't really put the car where it didn't belong, settled in, and like I said earlier, just let the race come to him. He ended up just getting out front and smooth sailing from there. It seemed like second and third was kind of a revolving door until Braswell got in there. Braswell had a good challenge, but just didn't quite have enough for Vickers, and Sage Luther rallying back for a podium. All in all, pretty solid night and pretty good racing here at the Fairbury Speedway.
Definitely would be. We're going to be right back here for the Autocraft Paint and Body Works post-race show. We'll be right back. You won't miss a thing when we get right back here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Welcome back here to the Fairbury Speedway, where tonight's race just got done, and we have our 6th different winner of the season. The driver is the number 1. That is Thomas the Jet Vickers. And Tom, man, you got to the front of this one and didn't look back, but you were really rolling the outside really good. How exactly tricky was this race out here tonight to get around? Because you saw these guys battling it all the way through the field, and it looked like it was a very tough racetrack to negotiate around here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's all throttle control. You had to really work the throttle and to run that top side, and my setup felt great. I was ripping it the whole time, and I was only about a tenth slower, I think, towards the end of the race from my best lap. So I like this track a lot, especially when it slicks off.
Yeah, talking about this racetrack and how difficult it is to get around when it gets slicked off. We saw a lot of guys starting to roll the bottom of the racetrack, and then that kind of went away, and the track kind of migrated towards the top. But your car, you seem to be able to roll the top really well and get the power down when you wanted to, and you really started to stretch out there. You had almost a 2-second lead when we got that last yellow flag. Did your heart sink?
Yeah, but I knew James was struggling on the high side, and I kept pulling away from the caution, so I was just making sure I hit my marks and kept that car on the top. Make sure I kept it off the wall.
Well, you did exactly that. You kept it off of the wall here tonight, but you're able to come home and not only become a feature event winner in the All-Star Racing Series, but in 6 races so far this season, you are the 6th different winner. It just talks to how much talent and how competitive this series is. Talk about the racing here in the All-Star Racing Series.
There's a lot of competitive guys out here. I mean, the whole entire crowd was racing right there together, just about. I was fortunate enough to get to leave them. I had a great setup, but overall it's been pretty tight racing just about this whole entire time I've been in this league.
Definitely has been. Next week we are going to be headed to, I believe, let me make sure I got my notes right. We're going to be headed to Charlotte, and we know that track can get a little bit rough there on the suspension there. How's the outlook looking for next week as we head to the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway?
I think I already have my set ready, and it should be about like this one. But those ruts, like you said, they will knock you around a little bit.
Well, it should be a good race next week. But before we let you roll on out of here, who makes it all possible for you in this number 1 team?
The base racing fuel and then Vickers transmission.
Well, congratulations on your victory here tonight. We'll see you next week at Charlotte.
All right, thank you.
That is your feature event winner, Justin, the number 1, becoming our 6th different winner of the season. And you heard it right there. Yeah, he talked about how he was able to roll, and there was a lot of throttle control out there. And the one driver that was leading it early was the 18 of Braswell. And we're going to catch up here. He's just debriefing with his team there. But Justin, we talked about how difficult this track was, and Vickers said that it was very difficult conditions out there here tonight.
Yeah, especially for him being committed to the top like he was. That's really a big challenge here. The line thins up quite a bit. And for him to run that many laps up top and just not really have any major bobbles or mistakes, really all in all an impressive run for him.
Well, I've got up now with the driver of that number 18 JR, and it will be a 2nd place finish here tonight for you there, James. But overall, a good night point-wise in the feature event. The heat races were not to your liking, but you did a nice rebound here in tonight's main event.
Yeah, I fought the car all this feature. I had it set up for the bottom, so much stagger, so much gear. And for me just to get second was, I mean, I was just hoping for a top 10. Completely wrong setup, but it worked out.
Talk about how difficult this racetrack was to get around here tonight. We saw you really working the bottom very well, and that kind of went away around the halfway point. And then the outside, the car just looked a little bit on edge up there. How difficult was it to not only maintain a pace, but to come home and hang on for a 2nd place here tonight?
Yeah, like I said, I set this car up just to only run the bottom, put so much stagger in it, and right when I saw the bottom completely go away and Vickers passed me on the top, I had to go to the top. All that stagger, I had to barely touch the throttle or I was going to spin the car out. Like, it was terrible that last 45, 50 laps and sweating. Like, it was a workout.
Well, you got your workout in for today, but you're going to come home in the number 2 spot. You should open the gap here, depending on how all the heat race and all the points factor out here tonight. But you should maintain the points lead headed into next week's Charlotte race. What's the outlook for you and this team headed to Charlotte?
We're not the best at Charlotte, but we're pretty good there. So hopefully we can pull another top 5 there. But I'm just glad this one's over with. We don't like this track.
Well, we're going to go from a very tight bull ring to a very fast Charlotte Motor Speedway next week. But before we let you roll on out of here, who makes it all possible for this team?
Yeah, man, me, my buddy Kyle and Tyler, we do a lot of testing and tuning together, and we've been really hitting the nail on the head the last couple of weeks with setups, and even Darby as well. We've been running together competition-wise, getting some practice in on this track every week. We usually do some sessions and, just try to get everything laid out, fine tooth comb, and it's been paying off.
Well, you did a great job here tonight. Congratulations on second place. We'll see you in 1 week's time.
Thank you, sir.
That's tonight's second place finisher, the number 18 junior of Braswell, and we heard him say this was not one of his favorite tracks, Justin. A little bit too much stagger to run the outside of the racetrack. Once the bottom went away, he was just trying to hold on.
Yeah, I mean, Braswell got a very deserving second place finish there. I mean, he ran a real solid race. Just like you said, just not enough stagger there, a little bit too much, and before you know it, you just couldn't quite hang on with that one car. And I mean, a solid second place with this competition, nothing to be disappointed about. He had a real solid run.
Definitely did. And then coming home in the third spot here tonight will be car number 26. And this driver did a show up 6 spots here tonight from the 9th starting spot. Comes home in the third spot with this number 26. It is Sage Luther. And Sage, you're looking around this race car. What else did you need out of this car to maybe get up there and challenge the number 1 of Vickers?
Yeah, it was a rough one, so I didn't really get. I started 9th and then got my way back up to 4th and fell back to 8th. Then got a little incident and then got my way back up to 3rd. I feel like I maybe could have got 2nd, but Vickers was definitely fast.
We had a very good race car here. We saw you in the heat races with a lot of speed there. Talk about how this track changed throughout the course of the 75 lap event here tonight for the All-Star Racing Series.
Yeah, it was pretty slick by feature time, and the longer the night went on, you needed a lot more throttle control and needed to not overdrive it.
Well, you come out of here with a third place finish every week, getting a little bit closer to that top spot. Next week we head to Charlotte. How is the very fast Charlotte Motor Speedway for you?
I feel like I got a pretty good setup there. I think we could definitely be a top 5 car again, maybe even win if we get some good luck.
Well, congratulations on coming home in that third spot here tonight. Who makes it all possible for this number 26?
I'd like to thank Rocket Racing Setups and Vortex Wraps.
Well, congratulations on your third place. We'll see you in 1 week's time down at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and hopefully we'll be talking to you maybe a couple spots higher up in Victory Lane.
Yeah, sure hope so.
Here you go, the driver of the number 26 going to come home in that third spot. The driver out of Nebraska, and he comes home in spot number 3 to round out our podium, and that will wrap up the Autocraft Paint and Bodyworks post-race show here on the Turn 3 Racing Network for the All-Star Racing Series. And we saw a very, very exciting race here tonight for all these drivers out there. And what are some of the key takeaways that we can leave Fairbury as the series will head back east to the Charlotte Motor Speedway?
Yeah, I think a lot of the takeaways from this event are just real basic things, as far as setup-wise and what kind of stagger you'll need. I mean, it's real tough to compare Fairbury to a Charlotte. Charlotte's a whole different animal. I'm sure a lot of these drivers will be a little bit happier to get out, stretch their legs a little bit, and get some room between each other, because after this race at Fairbury, I'm sure there's going to be a couple guys that really will remember what went on tonight and looking to pay it forward a little bit the next time.
Definitely would. They call this a full contact sport when you come to Fairbury. And this is what your tonight's feature event unofficial results will look like. It'll be Thomas Vickers picking up the first win of the season. It'll be James Braswell coming home in spot number 2. Sage Luther in spot 3. Brandon Marlowe and Justin Holt rounding out your top 5. Finishing 6th will be the 98 of Michael Kennedy. How about this driver, the number 117, or the 117 of Jeremy Prey, coming home in 7th. 8th spot with a nice rebound was John Darby. That car probably deserved a little bit better of a finish there. Had a little bit of rough at the end of this one, but nice rebound for the 8th spot. Mike Stevenson, and James Ferguson with a top 10 here tonight.
Yeah, finishing up in spot number 11. Had a real strong run towards the end there, but he'll finish in the 11th spot. That's the 109 at Alan Duranko. Finishing in the 12th position, the 128 of Blake Brown. Really had a tough go tonight, and hopefully they can get that car straight back up and looking good like it was tonight. Outside of them will be Larry Townsend in the 38, followed by Trent McLeod after his DQ. Mario Perez, after running strong early on and towards the end, ends up with the DNF there. Matt George, Jeff Helton, Kyle Vandergriff, Tyler Carter, and Jacob Lassiter.
All those drivers are going to be out looking for redemption in 1 week's time at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It was an exciting night of racing. It was everything that I expected. It was full contact, full blows, gloves were off racing for the first crown jewel of the season, and picking up the win will be car number 1. It was the number 1 of Thomas Vickers going to victory lane for the first time this season and becoming the 6th different winner for the All-Star Racing Series. Well, for myself, I am Al Smith, and for my partner in the booth with me here tonight, the bearded wonder from New York, Justin Smith, we say thank you for watching tonight's broadcast of the All-Star Racing Series, and we thank you for tuning on in. Until next Tuesday, to keep it wheels down, and we will see you at the races.